Hey guys, it's Goosebumps Completionist, and today I'm bringing you a book review from the Monsterstreet series. This is my very first book review for the Monsterstreet series done by J.H. Reynolds. And I decided to review book 3 first, and it's Carnevil. I have to say off the bat, I loved this book. It's a throwback to Goosebumps, but with Reynolds' own flair, with heavy-hitting topics and more heartfelt messages and a lot more serious subtext going on with some commentary. I think that this series is phenomenal. Reynolds, if you happen to be watching, I know there's only 4 books in this series, but after reading this, I think you need to continue this series. I know that the last book released a little bit before COVID happened. I don't know if there's something going on with that, or maybe the series is canceled or whatnot, but I hope that this series can continue because I really enjoy this and I cannot wait to read the other books. I initially found this at a book warehouse place where they send damaged inventory and they get sold wholesale price, and they had a bunch of this specific book in the series but not the other 3. And on instinct, after looking at the cover and looking at R.L. Stine is quoted on the cover, I bought the rest of the series, and I'm glad I have them now because this book was a book I didn't know I needed, I have to say, and I really, really love this book. So I'm going to get into the plot overview without giving too much away. Basically, these 2 brothers, Ren and Kip, Ren is the older brother and Kip's the younger brother, are visiting their aunt on Halloween weekend, and their aunt picks them up from the bus station, and she rented a hearse because it's Halloween, and she's really into celebrating Halloween. So much so that at the nursing home she lives and works at, it's like an activities director. She decorates the place really good, and puts out flyers and promotes it for trick-or-treaters to come and trick-or-treat on Halloween night. However, there's some competition this year because there's a carnival literally right next door. And this carnival has, the glitz and glams, the beaming lights, the cool looking rides, the screams, the smells that entice kids to want to go there instead of trick-or-treating at the what's called the Old Manor Nursing Home. And when Kip, the younger brother, sees this, he cannot wait to go to the carnival. And the aunt, being in the spirit of Halloween, says, I'll give you $20 and you guys can go later. And Kip's super excited, but Ren isn't really excited. Ren, as you'll come to find out, is more of I want to say scaredy cat, but he's not really into scary things. And he's also the kind of older brother, coming from being an older brother to 2 younger siblings. I can definitely relate to Ren and his viewpoint on his relationship with his brother Kip at this point of the book. So Ren feels like there's a duty involved with Kip, and I think there is an appreciation and a disconnect that Ren has with his younger brother. Ren has kind of developed this complex, saying that he's always been doing things for his brother because he feels like he has to look out for him, and he doesn't like that they're always doing things that Kip wants to do. But as the story goes on, Ren kind of evolves his thought process and maybe learns to appreciate his brother a little more. But I'll get into that later. But they, get to the retirement community after seeing the carnival, and Ren, I think his Aunt Winnie asks him to go and check on this room for her, which he does. And he goes and checks on this room for this woman. Now, this woman is, everybody else in the retirement community has been decorating, but she hasn't. All the lights are turned off. She basically lives in the dark. And he goes to knock on the door, and this is a very scary scene where she comes out of nowhere and surprises him, and she's like, "You see that carnival? You need to stay away, and you need to beware of the TikTok man." And Ren, he's very superstitious, but he's also apprehensive in believing what this lady has to say, and he's like, okay, whatever. But at the back of his mind, he's like, if we go to this carnival, we got to look out for whoever this TikTok man is, right? So, anyways, it goes into Ren and Kip getting dropped off by their aunt to the carnival next door with $20. And they buy tickets from the booth, and they go in with the mindset of, we know we can't ride everything and we can't eat everything, but we need to save and conserve the tickets. Well, about an hour in, his younger brother Kip, being Kip, and being the younger brother, of course, spends most of the tickets. And now they only have enough to do one more thing. And Ren's really upset because Ren also, kind of wanted to do some things there, and but they mostly did things Kip wanted to do. But they get interrupted by this fortune teller girl that looks about the same age as them, and her name is Zora. And Zora invites them in to get their fortune told. And when Ren and Kip go in there, they of course sit down and they have this, seance type of thing with like a floating crystal ball, and they, get told something. I'm not going to spoil it, by Zora. Then all of a sudden, this man with a cape, with a clock on his cane, comes in, and he's a very creepy looking guy. He has a name, but it's kind of fleeting me off the top of my head. And Ren and Kip, are very apprehensive of this man, very creepy. Ren has an instinct fight or flight and leaves with Kip. And Ren tries to assure Kip, let's go home. And Kip's like, no, I want to stay at the carnival. And Ren and Kip have a fight where Ren says, fine, if you want to stay, you stay. I'm not going to force you to do whatever I say anymore. I'm not going to look out for you because you don't need me. So he turns his back, and when he turns around, maybe hoping that Kip was following him, going to come apologize to him, Kip walked off, disappeared. Ren then freaks out instinctively, like an older brother probably would. I probably would do the same thing. And he tries to find Kip, and he sees Kip talking to the man with a clock on his cane. But if you put two and two together, beware the TikTok man and the clock on his cane. This person is, in fact, who the lady was referring to as the TikTok man. And his younger brother is talking to him and then proceeds to go on this ride, which is like a coffin drop ride. And Ren tries to go and get his brother, make sure his brother gets off the ride safely, and then grab him so they can go back to the retirement community so that his Aunt Winnie doesn't get, scared or anything. So when Ren goes to check the coffin that he saw his brother enter on, nothing was there. And then he asked a worker, like, what happened to my brother? And he said, oh, there's a trap door underneath that kind of leads to the mirror maze tunnel. So Kip takes the remaining tickets. Not Kip. Ren takes the remaining tickets, goes in there into the mirror place, and he finds this secret door, and he goes in there, and it's like this really creepy hallway with like a single candle lit, and he swear he sees a clown staring at him, which is very creepy. Okay, like a carnival of clowns. Clowns are at carnivals and everything, but this like clown is like just staring off in the distance from the dark with this eerie looking candle and a broken mirror on the floor. And he gets really creeped out, and then he thinks he sees something over in the mirror, and he looks in the mirror, and he sees his brother, and he's like fading off into the distance. And he's starting to think that something has taken his brother. So, of course, he calls for help. His Aunt Winnie comes to pick him up. The TikTok man is at the front talking with the guard or the officer or whatnot. And his Aunt Winnie's like, oh, your brother's already back at the retirement home. He came home and he said he was tired and went to bed. He said you were still here. Or I implied that you were still here. But Ren was like, no, something legit happened to him. I don't know how he got home. But something didn't feel right about the whole situation. With the TikTok man, he was kind of grinning, and Zora looked kind of guilty. giving him some stares. And Rin goes home with his Aunt Winnie, and the next morning he discovers that his brother's acting very strange, and he won't talk at all. He looks very robotic. But his brother said he's going to go back to the carnival. Now this is where Rin is starting to kind of like say that something happened to my brother at the carnival. I need to figure out what it is. Now, of course, this is where it's gearing up to be Halloween night. Rin decides to go back to the carnival, that same night after talking with the old lady again, kind of implying that something, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a big revelation that happens where Rin learns who Zora is and maybe her connection to this older lady. And Rin discovers something very weird about this carnival. And to kind of break it down and summarize it, it's kind of confusing when you first hear it. But basically, this carnival has been around since the beginning of time, and there's a way to pay for the rides if you run out of tickets or money, and that is with time of your life. For each ride you decide to spend with time of your life, it can take off hours, days, even years. And basically, there's these little things where, like little clock things that have this little green mist in it that the TikTok man collects from you. And that's basically implying part of your soul gets sold. Now on Halloween night, right before midnight, the thing that's responsible for the carnival that comes around every, I think it's 77 years to feed on souls, will collect the souls of these kids and collect the bounty, and then those who have paid with the time will now be released. However, when they step foot out of the carnival, they are old people, and they go straight to the retirement community next door. And these kids, these were once kids that went missing like years ago, and they just randomly turn up and they just go there and nobody knows who they are, basically. And it's a very weird concept. If you read the book, you'll understand a little bit better. But yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. So Rin discovers that Kip paid with time of his life. Now, there is another thing to worry about, is that his brother has been coached by the TikTok man to buy the ultimate ticket. Now, the ultimate ticket is you basically sign your soul away forever. And you can just stay a kid, stay the same age. You have to live on the carnival, though. You can't step foot outside the carnival or you'll be turned to dust. But you get to ride the rides forever. You get to be a kid forever. You get to eat the carnival food. You get to be part of the carnival. Now, part of the carnival is these monsters here. There's like a jack-o'-lantern monster and a couple of other creepy things wrong with this carnival, I have to say. And Rin realizes that he has to find the heart of the carnival, which, through the reluctant help of Zora and revelations made by Zora, he discovers that it's near the Ferris wheel, and he goes there, tries to go there, but the TikTok man is trying to thwart his plans, saying stay away or something bad will happen. And he encounters the jack-o'-lantern guy, and he sees this row of clocks, and basically those are all the souls, promised by, the time spent at the carnival by the kids. And as the story progresses, TikTok man gets more and more angry with Rin, stay away from your brother. Your brother has made this choice. And Rin's like, well, not if I have anything to say about it, right? So it comes down to Halloween night, where Rin is like all or nothing for his brother. He has to find a way to save his brother. And there's this whole climactic thing that happens where Rin basically is willing to sell his own soul in exchange for his brother's soul. And he makes that agreement And by making that agreement, he gets to hold on to his clock, and the TikTok man wants to collect his clock in time for the soul harvest that's going on, and something happens to where Ren outsmarts the TikTok man and basically uses the carnival's rules against him, and the whole carnival gets sucked up into the clouds at where the carnival disappears to, and Ren is still intact at the end, and so is his brother Kip. His brother was returned. He was saved from being sent to the carnival forever because of his actions and fooling the TikTok man. Now, there's also a heartfelt send-off with Zora, but I'm not going to spoil what exactly that is. And of course, Ren and Kip's relationship kind of comes full circle with the ending, and they feel closer and more bonded. I think Ren appreciates his little brother at the end a little better. I think Kip also appreciates his older brother Ren a little bit better at the end as well. So that basically in a nutshell is Monsterstreet Carnevil. I have nothing but positivities to say about this book. From the relationship evolution that happens with Ren and Kip, the atmosphere of the carnival, the spirit of Halloween that's captured through like Aunt Winnie and the retirement community, and then Zora having her own little subplot thing going on. I'm not going to spoil what that is. May or may not have something to do with the old lady at the retirement community that warned Ren in the beginning of the story. The TikTok man was a great villain. It's very, very cool concept about how the carnival works and how all of that comes to be. It felt supernatural. It felt eerie. And it just concluded in probably the best way possible. I think Reynolds knew exactly what story he wanted to tell before he even wrote this, and it just feels completed. There's really no odds about the story or loose ends to nag about. Everything feels coherent. Everything feels cohesive. Everything feels like it added. Each little reveal added to different layers of the story. Then that layer eventually built up and made a cohesive, structured book out of it. I really have nothing to complain about this with. I mean, this is like a perfect 5 out of 5 for me. If I had to rate it from a 0 to 5 stars, this is a 5 out of 5 knockout book. Its relatability to Goosebumps, however, I will say, I will probably end up giving it a 4.5 out of 5. It doesn't have that R.L. Stine cheese flair that almost every single Goosebumps book has, but I definitely think it's close enough that you will enjoy this. I think the differences there will make you appreciate the series and separate your appreciation from the series from Goosebumps, and I highly recommend it, and I cannot wait to try out more books from this series. So yeah, this is my review of Carnevil from the Monsterstreet series by J.H. Reynolds. Let me know in the comment section if you have read this. Did you love it or did you hate it? I'm dying to know, and I'll see you next time.